guys, how's it going? If you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be looking at the LTC 841 PRO, and it's going to be great. We got it in a beautiful green color, which I'm super excited because we got some green in the mix. And so we're going to be checking it out, seeing how it sounds, what kind of connectivity we have. It does have a digital display on it, which I'm super excited about. I always love those, plus a configurable knob. We'll check out the software. We'll see what all it can do. So let's sit back, relax, and grab a drink, and let's go ahead and hop straight into it. All right, let's check it out. Newly designed packaging, LTC Nimbleback NB841 PRO mechanical keyboard. Gotta say, as I've just mentioned, this is new packaging for LTC. The last ones that I've had for their mouses were a little basic, but I do love this. We do have the specs here on the back for, say, the weight, what it works with, support, and everything, how many keys that it has. So, again, just admiring this a little bit, but let's go ahead and open it up. Let's see what we got inside of here. Now, we do have to go ahead before we do. Let's go ahead and get those tech specs out of the way. First, we'll start out with it. It is a tri mode. It does have wired, wireless, and Bluetooth. We do have that digital screen with the knob functionality. We do have 3 layers of silicone dampening layers for sound to reduce the sound inside of it. We have PBT keycaps. Do have some software that does go with this, which we will see here in just a bit. We do have the 22 mode RGBs, modes for different colors and different things for your customization. We do have a macro on the keyboard with FN and the backspace, where you can check the battery level, which will show up green with the RGBs. So if you just press the FN plus backspace, if it's all the way green, it'll show all the way to 100%. 50 is yellow, and 30 is pink. So you will have to check that out, and you can see that it does have 10 keys, and so each of those keys will be lit up, and you can see those in increments, but the colors change in those percentage variables. Now, as far as the switches go, they are from a brand called Content. And from what I can find with the clear and white bottom, there's estimations of 45 grams of pressure. I did find blacks that say 50 grams of pressure, but there's not a lot on the Content brand, so I'm not quite sure, but they are Content blues. I do have one here, and yeah, no, they do feel fine, and it sounds pretty good too, but just so you know, they're not necessarily a name brand, but they do come on a couple different brands of keyboards, so they're totally fine. But they do boast that the switches are still MX style, like Gateron's, but again, just not the Gateron price. From what I did see, these are also about 75 cents to 79 euros. It just kind of all depends some sites, so you just never really know, but they are pretty okay for what I've seen, so they are very similar. It does work on Windows 7 and up. It does work with Android, iOS, and Mac. Overall, fantastic. Great things you can do with the keyboard. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe to the video and the channel if you don't mind. Would love to have you here if you guys want to see more videos like this. We do have some other videos on the channel if you want to check those out. We got headsets, keyboards, more keyboards, lots of mice, and headsets. And also, there's random things inside of there. We do have a still series, which we will be using and referencing back to in other headsets and microphones as we test them. So it's great software to be using for some post-processing to enhance the fidelity that you're hearing here. But yeah, absolutely great things. So make sure to check that out. All right, let's go ahead and get this out of the box. You have the keyboard right here on top. Go ahead and pull this out and get it out of the way so we can get to the goodies underneath. We do have it in that nice mint green. Do the manual right here on top, and we'll get into that. But it is a booklet, so a win. And look at that. Well illustrated, looking good. I'm excited about that. Thank you, LTC. Thank you. Love the manual. But underneath here, we do have the cable itself, and then we do have the keycap puller and some spare key switches. So nothing too crazy. Looks good, and, you know, definitely some standard. Love that we do get some extra pieces to go along with it. All right, let's go get this keycap puller out of here. No customization on it, but it does look good. It's just your standard run-of-the-mill keycap puller. Then we're going to go ahead and get the switch on out of here and go ahead and look at that. Again, these are blues from content, as I mentioned earlier. Nothing too crazy, MX style, and very similar to Gateron's, but just a different brand, but they look exactly the same. They probably could be out of the same factory, just punched a little differently on the plastic housing, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes, but they definitely look very, very similar. The sidewise pushing, again, like I said, we couldn't really find much on it. Might be able to have some of that posted up above my head here. Later on, if we do have that update, we will let you know. And if you see me on screen, then we definitely got the update. We'll verify the pressure for that. Now let's go ahead and check out this cable. We do have the USB-C dual cable with the USB-A cap. Absolutely still loving that those are coming in standard with all these keyboards these days. Great for compatibility, especially with mobile devices. But let's talk about this scrumptious manual that they have created here. Well illustrated, super easy to read. It shows you all the things, all the modes. Looks good. It shows you how to do it and how to get into the connectivity, the different pairing modes. And then which devices switching back over. And again, there's very minimal information on each page, but again, I like that. It's very simple. Each page has dedicated information, especially here with the hotkeys. There is a few, definitely a few, but the point is it's very well illustrated and it's not clustered up. So this manual here, definitely getting an A+++++ from me. I mean, I love this thing. One thing I didn't see in here were some tech specs, which I do love to see that inside the manual. So maybe that could be something they could add in on that last page, but perfect. I love this manual. They did a phenomenal job. Absolute best. And you can download a digital copy on their website if you'd like that too. But let's go ahead and get this guy. Let's check it out. It's a beautiful, like, mint bluey green. It's got that digital display at the top. The keys, they feel good. Got the knob. It's just really nice, really smooth. Does have a little bit of a bump to it. And of course, there's the Nimbleback here on the front. On the back, looks a little weird, right? You do have the switch right next to it. But look at this. The USB, it's magnetic. It just slides on. Now, don't be wrong. While you're traveling, that could be a problem. You know, that could slide off. But look at that. It's just... It slides right on, and it almost goes into place just perfectly, but yeah, it's just magnetic. Now, we do have the little switch here for the wireless and the Bluetooth, and we do have, right above that, if you notice real carefully, we have cable routing as well. But we'll check out the feet first. We got the double feet. Those are pretty normal these days, and nice pads on the bottom. But that cable routing from all sides, you go down the middle, you can take it to the left, you can take it to the right, but then the USB is right there in the middle though, which we'll check that, but we got everything turned on here though, and it got real RGB on us. But the screen, it's not crazy huge, but it has so much info, which it does turn off, so you do have to get this to come back up, but that's okay. But you have the date, the day, the battery, the time, what mode you're in for Windows or Mac, USB, Bluetooth, and then there's caps lock and num lock as well right below the seconds over there. So, again, super nice. Now, to get in this mode, you want to press FN and the knob itself. It'll flash, and then you'll be able to move around the screens, see all the different settings, which will go more in depth with that later. But you can put full animated GIFs and images on here, and the normal mode will just make your volume go up or down, and if you click it, that will automatically mute your system volume. But overall, everything with the keyboard feels great. It looks good. The RGB coverage looks good coming through the keys from below. And it feels super solid. Definitely close to some of the other MX or Gateron switches that I have on some of the other keyboards. They definitely look good and sound good. But overall, again, just really, really nice build quality. Has a really good weight to it. And then here's what I was mentioning earlier for that cable routing. That USB-C is underneath. It's on the bottom. So definitely looking really good, really sleek to just be able to hide, be recessed. And, you know, definitely a little different. Not a lot of keyboards do that. It's either on the back side on the top or it's on the side, but this one has it recessed. So definitely I see what you did there, LTC. Putting in the work. Now we'll go ahead and get these lights off real quick and we'll really check out these RGBs. There we go. We see minimal flicker even for on the camera. Some of these do look kind of bad. But the coverage looks really good. And now, again, the timeout is a little low for me, for the RGB and for it to turn off. But we will hopefully be able to check that out in the software and see if we can modify that now that that's released and see if we can adjust that. Okay, let's start with the screen. What you can do with this keyboard, you do have the time and the temperature and the process percentages on the screen, plus the GIF and image that you set for that. We do have the mode effects for the lighting, which we'll go through these kind of quickly, but we'll go through them more in depth in the software. You can adjust the color here on the keyboard as well, and adjust each of those colors in for each of those lighting effects. And then we also have the screen brightness itself, where we can adjust the brightness of the screen of the keyboard. The sleep, you can have it never up to 1 minute, and you can adjust that more in the software. And then finally, we do have the language and whether if it's going to be a Mac or PC. But definitely, the screen looks sharp, looks clean, easy to see in the dark. So definitely looking solid for LTC here. All right, so let's go ahead and get underneath the hood here a little bit. We're going to go ahead and pull some of these keycaps off. Go ahead and see if we can't look underneath this a little bit. And now we do see as we take these off, these are south-facing RGBs. And so if you do replace the keycaps or if you want to do anything with that, make sure you get the right kind of keycaps for south-facing if they're going to be putting. But if you're going to get side printed or side putting, then that'll be fine for south-facing. But again, looking good. You got those blues, got the RGBs here. We got a nice soft white for it to diffuse the RGB underneath it as well, which is why probably why it looks so good once the RGB is on. Let's go ahead and get these switches out real fast and check underneath the hood just a little bit more. Go ahead and get these three off right here. And I'll say this last one's going to give you a little bit of problem, so we're just going to go with two. So we're going to go ahead and look underneath here. We do see that dampening layer underneath there, separating the keys, and where that RGB is just bouncing off it. So all this white really does create a really vibrant color range and diffusing of the light coming all the way through. So definitely a great choice there, allowing that to just diffuse it and be a part of it. We'll go ahead and get these guys put back together. But before we do, let's go ahead and check out the keycaps here. We do see underneath the keycaps, they do look pretty solid here. Really nice printing, and being PBT, it does help with protecting against oil. But just the molding on these things looks really good. We've seen some keycaps in the past that do have a little bit of frays on the edges. Maybe the molding didn't do too well, but these look really, really well done. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and slide into the weight here. We're going to make sure that the weight itself is fully up to snuff. We did see on the packaging, it did say it was going to be over 1,000 grams there, in which it is. So we're looking at 1288 on this model that I have here for the 841. Now, as far as the sound goes, though, we do need to hear how it sounds. That's half the needs of a keyboard these days, is how well does it hit your ears. Keys, they sound really good. Kind of clicky, but overall, not too bad. Again, you can tell the dampening layers there really coming in clutch. The knob has a really nice click to it. And just overall, it sounds good. And again, that really does depend who you are and what it sounds like to you, which is why we do these segments. But not going over really 65 decibels is pretty normal, and I don't think that you would have much of an issue with that. Now, next, let's go ahead and dive into the software. Let's get the update from future me on if there's a firmware update and how the screen is going to work, and we'll go ahead and see on how to operate everything as far as that goes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch over to the software. One thing to note is the driver for the keyboard does not show up properly. I've already let them know that that's a thing, and so if you're checking this now, we'll put up on screen if that has been fixed or not, but just go ahead and head over here and check to see if there's any drivers. But for the most part, what you'll do is then inside of that download, we'll have a link over here to the pages/LTC keyboard. Here you can see all the keys and what everything does. We're just going to speed through this because there's a lot to cover. And you can choose the custom keys, the FN settings, macros. You can create folders. The screen on it, you can actually do multiple layers. You could draw your own images with the pixel screen. You can upload an image. You can have it upload the animation if you want. It'll show you some previews here, which looks kind of crazy, but it's sped up, so that's a thing. And so it looks kind of crazy, but you can draw, do multiple layers. And then here's where the fun is. This is where all the fancy lighting effects go. Now, some of these may not be in the correct order. There's a lot of these, and they may have gotten out of sync as we sped this up, but just keep an eye on it. They do go quickly. They do flash, change, go around. And remember, I'm keeping this at normal speed here. And we're just going to speed through. Some flash left, some flash right. Some of these are just basic swirly whirlies. You can see them. But then most of them, you can see will have some fun effects. Now, the music effects you will see on here as well that do basically just the system audio. They'll be down here at the end. Definitely look good. Everything, the RGB looks great. There's minimal flicker, especially even on the camera. So, again, full RGB looks great with the way it diffuses. You can adjust the brightness of the keyboard and the speed and the effects. You can customize your own if you want. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You can do a lot of changes here and really adjust it how you like it. Now here we can also then go into the share tab, which then you can share your lights, animations, settings, macros to whoever and save it under your account. And then also you have the upgrading your firmware and your IoT version. Once you do that, if there is available, it will download through the site. I've already made a point to them to maybe like, hey, could we get a offline version to maybe be able to do this just in case, for one day, like maybe their site's down or the site disappears, things like that, for longevity-wise, we can get a download for this. So I'll keep you posted. Again, it'll be right up here if we do get a response for that. I've already reached out to them for that, so yeah, we'll let you know. But hey, that's the software and everything that you can do with it. Again, you may have to slow down the video and go back. There was a ton of stuff to cover on there, so we sped through it a lot. I did gloss over a lot of it, but point is everything is customizable. You can adjust the FN settings. You got macros, color lighting. The screen is super customizable for what you want to upload image-wise to it. You can draw your own pixel art. There's multiple layers. It's kind of a crazy amount of stuff that you can do. So if you're an artist person, by all means, start designing. But everything looks great. It's online, so it should be the most up-to-date every single time. So that does have a perk, but I think an offline application would absolutely be fantastic. All right, and that's the LTC 841 Pro keyboard. I mean, honestly, pretty solid keyboard. I love the design. I can see exactly where a lot of this design took place, a lot of the cable routing, the sound dampening, the thought of the clear or slash kind of murky, cloudy foam and silicone that's inside this to help really diffuse the lighting and everything to go along with the keyboard. Great stuff. Software, little different than some, where this is an online software. And again, little different, and the drivers are a little bit of a thing. So just remember, if there's an update on that, we will definitely have that. Links will be in the description for all that, so don't worry about that. We'll have that directly. If we do get that updated, we'll have that updated for you. But overall, not too bad. On the software online, it does exactly what it needs to. One suggestion on the software would be to have that where it shows the effects on the keyboard live. Love that. Helps people out. They don't have to go back and forth between the keyboard. Just it's a lot of back and forth. So LTC, if that could be updated, that would be absolutely amazing. Would love to see that change. And also, again, updating the file on the website to make sure that that shows the actual keyboard itself. Again, this is a new keyboard, so they may have accidentally uploaded that, or if it was just a placeholder. Definitely a thing. So if you check it and it downloads correctly, congratulations. But if not, just know that that is on the way to them, and I will let them know about that. Guys, thank you so much. If you made it this far, thank you. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We do videos like this coming up every week, at least, maybe a little bit more frequent coming here very soon. We got a lot of products we're trying to bust our way through, so it's going to be good. We got some really good stuff coming on the way. So again, make sure you get notified when that goes live. And again, do appreciate you being here. So don't forget to show up on the next one when that comes out, and you'll get notified for it. And thank you again. You guys have a lovely evening or morning wherever you are, and I'll see you guys here on the next one.